Again. Hello everyone and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. And today is May the 29th, 2025. And I want to welcome everybody. I hope you enjoy what you see, and if you are new, I hope you will come back and maybe you'll think about hitting that subscribe button and, as they say, rock that bell. And to those returning viewers, good to see you again. Now I want to start off by, I guess, telling you sort of the important dates. This is a very, very busy week for me. First of all, I have to get 2 videos out, and I think it might mean that this video is going to be a little bit shorter than usual. I don't have a lot of extra beyond the rest of the hand-dyed yarn from Ontario. So it will be shorter. And I also want to prepare you that although it is my goal to get the end of the month out, and the end of the month is on Saturday, with the slideshow and the reveal for June, I have all the best intentions to get it to you Saturday like I should. But because I'm going to be out of town and having visitors and so many other things happening at once, and that slideshow takes a lot of work to put together, I guess maybe it might come out later in the day. You're used to getting things first thing in the morning from me, and I may have to use part of Saturday just to finish making that video, and then likely it would come out Saturday evening. At the worst, I might upload it for Sunday morning, but if I get behind, I will do my best to get it out later in the day Saturday. So just want to prepare you for that. Hopefully I can get everything done I'm supposed to be getting done. Also, this is a week of a lot of special dates, and I was hoping that my kitty would be here to join us, but he isn't. He might come along later. But I want to start by mentioning that Monday, the 26th of May, marked 1 full year since my friend Rose had her stroke. It's amazing to me that it has been a whole year that I've been dealing with all of this, and she's definitely making improvements. They tell me they have her walking with assistance and a one-armed walker, trying to build up her strength in the leg so I can take her out in the car. So, oh, here comes a visitor. So she is making progress, and her speaking is somewhat better too. Then the 27th, and it's actually the 27th today. I always videotape these a couple days ahead. You want to come over here? You want to come and see me, sir? Come and see me. Come here. We want you to say hello to the people. Today, the 27th of May, is this little fella's birthday, and his sister, same birthday. Yes, today is their birthday, and he is 16 years old today, and his little sister is 15 years old today. So a happy birthday to him. Scrawny, he's turned scrawny. He was such a big kitty at one time, probably about 16 pounds, but not anymore. And finally, you're, of course, watching this video on the 29th. And the 29th of May is my brother and his wife are celebrating their anniversary. And so, happy anniversary, Di. My sister-in-law generally does watch my videos. Not always when they come out, a little bit later, but happy anniversary, Di. So, lots of celebrations this week. Do we give you something special for your birthday today? Maybe I can find a treat for you. Yeah. So that's all happening this week. And I I'm not wearing any crochet today. I couldn't think of anything to put on to match with this. And I don't have any finished objects. And now I'm totally full of cat hair. Oh well, the price we paid to love our furry friends, huh? I am still working on the 2 items I mentioned last week, and I will show you. Are you going to get down? Okay. Yeah, best to get down before I get any more hair on me. I will show you one of the items I'm working on. It is my item, one of my items for May. I showed you this gradient cake. It started gray and it's working out, and I am going to do everything possible to finish this, if not by the time I make the video, by the end of the month. I want this to be a finished item. So I got till Saturday night, and it's Tuesday right now. So there is what's left yet. And this is the shawl I'm working on. It is the Granny Meets Virus. I really do enjoy making this shawl. And it's already a decent size. It's going to be a really good size when I finish the cake. And I will finish the cake because it's one of those patterns that you can end where you really want to end. And I want to use the pink part of it a little bit more. So I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at an item somebody sent me just today or yesterday using the same cake. And I'm wishing I had done one of 2 things. At first, I was thinking as I looked at it that it has way too much gray up here, and I wish I had just pulled out a section of gray. And if I'd pulled out that section of gray, all the rest of it would have moved up some, because it is a large cake. It has 1,000 meters or 1,094 yards. Or possibly I should have done as the one I saw. I probably should have started on the outside of this cake at the top and worked down so that the gray would not be as obvious. It would have been more spread out at the bottom. And I really wish I had done that now that I'm looking at this. But anyway, I'm doing what I'm doing, and I just want to get busy and get it finished. I've just finished the section of Granny. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, I'm ready to move into the virus section again. And I'm using a 3.5 millimeter prim hook. So I'll put that back over there. So that's what I'm working on. You did it again. Oh. He likes to get in the cubby and lay on the yarn. Doesn't make me very happy when he does it. I thought I had fixed it so he couldn't get in. All right, so we're ready to get back to looking at yarn from Ontario Dyers. And I'm kind of a little disappointed in the dyers from Ontario. Last week, a number of them, there wasn't a lot to say. And the same thing has happened again this week. People who have actually closed their shop, I'm thinking, and I'll tell you more as we go. But I will be putting up a map. Here's a map of Ontario again. You can see Ottawa. 2 of the dyers I mentioned are from Ottawa. And then I will put numbers. I think I have 1, 2, 3 numbers to put on it. And I'll tell you the numbers with it when I am talking about that company. So the first company I want to talk about is called The Lab Fibers, and it's thelabfibers.com, and they have a site with a fair amount on it. They are in Ottawa, and they have, it looks like they have yarn bases in sock, fingering, sport, DK, worsted, and bulky. They have tweed in both the fingering and the DK. They have some Aran weight. They have a cotton wool blend. They have a merino and silk blend, it looks like. They have a sparkle sock. They have a silk suri and a silk mohair. So they have a variety of bases to choose from. And they have mini packs, 5 in a mini pack for $35. So that is very reasonable for a mini pack. And here comes the other little girl to check things out. If she comes near me, I might pick her up, but she's a very skittish cat. So that is lab fibers, and I discovered lab fibers when I was at the Fiber Festival last spring. Come here, sweetie. Come here. Come here, sweetie. Come here. Come here. Yeah. Yeah. We want to say hello to the people because you're having a birthday today. Here she is. There. Sit up. Say hello. And they can tell you happy birthday. Yeah. You can see she's not really happy about being up here. Okay, down you go. Now you've seen them both for their birthday. So, lab fibers. Lab fibers from Ottawa, and I got these 2 yarns. I bought 2 at the time of the same yarn so that they would go together. And I really do like a silvery gray and a navy, and it's called Smooth Sport. And this particular skein of yarn is $30, and it's 50% superwash merino and 50% silk. So that's really good for a yarn that has silk in it. All the numbers I give you are in Canadian funds. So you can imagine what this might be in US funds. It's called Smooth Sport. And I think that's about all I can tell you. This color is Cove, and this color is Twilight Eclipse. So those 2 are going to go together someday in probably a shawl or maybe a cowl type thing. They feel very nice, but that's the silk. They feel very, very silky. So that's lab fibers. Next, I told you I had yarn from Mindful Yarns and Fibers, and I had it in my hand. That's why I put it on the list, and then I haven't seen it since. So it's disappeared. Someday, if it reappears, I may show it to you and talk about them. The next, I have a fair bit of yarn from Plain with String. I've ordered from them a couple of times, and they were on Etsy. They are located in Wasaga. There's a beach in that area, Wasaga Beach, Ontario, and that will be number 1 on the map. And I'll flash it up there again just for a minute. But unfortunately, I really can't tell you much about them. They were on Etsy, but right now they are not there. They have closed their shop. And I don't know if that's a permanent thing or not. I think it is. They can be found on Instagram. Excuse me. They seem to be doing maybe a wholesale business because they said they could be found at various other places. And one place I found them was in a yarn shop called Little Sheep Yarn Boutique. And it happens to be a store in Windsor. And I talked about Windsor last week, and I have another company this week that's in Windsor also. I will try to link their store, Little Sheep Yarn Boutique. If any of you want to check them out, they obviously carry other yarns besides playing with string. But I wanted to show you their yarn because I did have a bit. I think I purchased from them more than once. Here's one that I bought from them, which kind of surprised me. It's called Sock String. It's 80% merino, 20% nylon, has 420 yards, and it just feels average, like most of the ones that you get with merino nylon. I'm kind of surprised at myself buying this particular color. I'm wondering if it might have been on sale at the time. And then here's another. Now this one I really do like. It's again their sock string. And so the same specs as before. And the color, this one had no color. It was just called sock string number 6. So it must have been a one of a kind. This one is called 90s Kid. And I think this one has some pretty colors in it. I like that one. Then I had, I'm thinking that I went several years ago, I forget how many, to a small fleece festival in Woodstock. And I might have bought some of their yarn there. That's how I learned about them. Wasaga Beach, Ontario. There is their logo, although, like I said, you have trouble finding them now. Although if they're carried by another store, you would see that logo. And this again is sock string, and it's called Primary Speckles. So there are a lot of speckles in this in various colors. Very interesting. And then down at the other end, we have a little more of a teal color. And then I have two more that I think, yes, they're the same. I think I had one and I ordered a second one because I thought I might need two for what I wanted to make. This is called their Glitter String, and it is merino, 84% merino and 16% stellina, and it's called Fall Rainbow. Fall Rainbow. And I thought I would like two of those to put together to make a shawl, I'm thinking. And I think this might be a good choice of yarn to make something with that's planned, assigned pooling. You see there's some dark green down there, a couple shades of brown, and then a different shade of green, a bit of an orangey into the gold. So I think it'll be a very lovely shawl. And I think the way this falls in the yarn, I may be able to do some pooling. So I have two of those to make something with. So move them aside, finding places to put it. All right, moving on. Now this one, you'll have no trouble finding. Stitch Noir. They are located in Ottawa. I think they're just outside of Ottawa. And their website is stitchnoir.com. And you'll see how to spell that if you're not sure when I show you the label. Now they have a wide variety of yarns. They have lace weight, fingering, DK, worsted, bulky. They also have slubs. Now that, and it's fingering weight. The yarn is fine, like fingering weight, but it has big, it's more so than tweed. It's not tweed, it's a heavier, bulky spot of yarn throughout. They're slubs is what they are. And they also have gradients. They had a sales section. I noticed they had some silky alpaca, and I think I saw cashmere. They have some yarn that's actually $29 a skein, and some that's $32. The silky alpaca with cashmere, I think, was $36 a skein. So that's a pretty good price for that quality of yarn. Canadian. 36 Canadian is probably about 25, depending on the exchange. The exchange is back up a wee bit, so it might be less than $25. I couldn't find out much about shipping. Sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. But here's the yarn I have from Stitch Noir, so that you can see the label. Stitch Noir, that's black. And, oh, Stitch Noir says it's in Ottawa, but here it says small hand-dyed in Hamilton, which makes me think that since I looked up on the website and it said Ottawa, that maybe she was in Hamilton and she's moved to Ottawa. This is her basic sock, 80% merino and 20% nylon, 115 grams, says 420 yards. And this is called Merry and Bright. So you can see a lot of gray with speckling in it. That would be the Merry and Bright part. Speckling in it. It feels nice for being a plain merino nylon. It feels nicer than the last one I had in my hand. This does feel nice. You must have a better quality merino in it. Okay, and the next one I have from them is this one. Again, it's a basic sock. All the ones, oh, that one isn't, okay. And this one, the color is called Belladonna. Same specs as the other. Did I tell you they're Stitch Noir, stitchnoir.com. And they are also on Instagram and Facebook. Stitchnoir.com is their website. Now this has splashes of black, but mostly mixed. It's a purple burgundy color. More burgundy wine out here. I really like that. That's quite nice, with that little bit of black down in here as well. So quite pretty. Feels good. And the third one I have from them, this one is a silky alpaca fingering. So it's 70% alpaca, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere, and 20% nylon. There's no way those add up. Either doesn't have nylon or the alpaca has only 50% in it. But it does have silk and cashmere, as I mentioned over there, and it is $36. And it does feel just heavenly. And as you can see, I really, really like these colors. This is very, very soft. Yeah, but most alpaca, silk, and cashmere, that's going to give you a wonderful feel. So now I've had these a while, so what colors you would find on their site at this point, I don't know, but know that this feels wonderful. And the color's called Illusion. Silky alpaca fingering, Stitch Noir. Beautiful. I really, really love that one. I should keep it near the top. I'd love to make something in it very soon. Okay, so moving on, we come to one that most of you have heard of, and that is Tangled Poets. Tangled Poets is really a division of, you might say, Aberdeen's Wool. And I think a lot of you have heard of Aberdeen's Wool or Tangled Poets because a number of other creators, American channels, have gotten, I think Aberdeen Wool has mystery bags that people really like. And Aberdeen's Wool carries many other brands beside their own Tangled Poets. One of the owners, Heather, is the dyer behind Tangled Poets. So they carry other things like Baracco and Juniper Moon, Lana Grossa, and the well-known Shapy's yarn. They are also well known for their pickle jar. I think a lot of you have heard and seen people get their pickle jars, which are 10-gram minis, and pretty much they are striping, so they're great for making socks. They have a flat rate shipping fee of $15. And then if you spend over $150, you get free shipping. And you would have seen me last year and maybe the year before, or maybe it was 2 years ago. I know one year I opened an advent calendar from them, and they are getting ready. Has it just come out, or did I get an email saying it was coming out at the first of the next month? But they're getting ready to offer their advent calendar for Christmas of 2025. If you are interested at all in an advent calendar from them, their email, before I forget, is Aberdeens with an S wool.ca. Now, I have a number of skeins of yarn from them, but I will warn you that if you go on their site at this point, you'll see other brands of yarn, but I think they had only one skein of their own hand-dyed yarn, but they did have the pickle jar, and you could buy, I think it's 40 or 60 or 100 of these little mini skeins to fill the pickle jar. I suspect that has to do with the fact that last year they almost had to close their door. The owner, Heather, was very sick, apparently, quite ill. And she did come back, but had been gone for a fair bit of time. And they were kind of worried about being able to save the business. So they put out, I think it was their advent, to see if they got enough sales to save things, because they have a farm with sheep as well, maybe other animals. But anyway, they managed to save the business, but I suspect her health is still not back to par, and she's not doing as much dyeing as she used to. I'm sure she's busy with the dyeing for the advents, and that's probably extending her abilities as it is. So anyway, I'll show you what I have from Tangled Poet. First of all, I remember getting this from Diane at My Pink Bathtub. She sent me this as a gift. Was it for my birthday? And this is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and each one of these pieces has 110 yards in it. Their Christmas advent won't be 20-gram minis. I think they're 30-gram minis with 110 yards in them. And so there's a total of 550 yards here, because I have 5 different mini skeins to make a gradient. So that is one item I have from Tangled Poets. It's going to make a really nice item, a nice gradient when I get around to it. So I have that. Then I have several hanks here, and I'm looking to see if they're all the same. Merino nylon. Yeah, I think they're all, yeah, merino nylon. So I'll start with this one. And the print on this is like they tried to make it as small as they possibly can. It is 80/20 merino nylon, and it has 460 yards in one hank. So this is called Sedona. Yeah, has two names. Houndmouth. Anyhow, there are some colors hidden under the band here. So I want to pull it down and see there's some teal. And there's maroon, or, yeah, wine colored burgundy. And some red at this end. Now this feels somewhat average. Yeah, the plies are more noticeable in this than they are in that. So it's a little bit plumper. Nice. Then the next one, and did I tell you that's called Sedona, I think. This one is called Winter Escape, and it's blues and teals. There are a little bit of other colors in there, but it's mostly blues and teals. Light blue, a little bit of speckling in there. And the third one is called Open Up the Heavens, Jaybird. Now I love this particular color. See if we can, the band is very tight on it. As you can see, there's black into pink, purples, navies. The other end, you can see more teals and a little more purple in there. So I like this one the best of those three. But Tangled Poets, I'm sure she will be dyeing more. They do have an advent, and Aberdeen's Wool is still there in business, and you might find other yarn that you're interested in from them as well. Now, they are located in Lindsay, Ontario, which is just outside of Peterborough. And again, I'll flash the map, and that will show you number 2, where they are located. And I see that I neglected to look one of these up, so I'll have a little problems telling you about one of them, and that is A Wanderer and Her Yarn. What I do know is you will find her at a number of fleece festivals throughout Ontario. I discovered her at the Fleece Festival last year in the spring. If we're looking at the map again, I'm going to say she's number 3 down there in Windsor. And we talked about Windsor last week. And what all she offers, I'm sorry, I can't tell you, because I just realized now I hadn't done my research on her. But she does have a variety of yarns. And what I have here is 75% merino, 15% cashmere, and 10% silk. Well, when I picked it up, I thought, my, this feels very nice. Her base is called Adventurer Sock, so it's fingering weight, and it has 434 yards in it. And I don't see a color name. Nope. But it's called A Wanderer and Her Wool. And she has a website, awandererandherwool.com. And I will definitely link it below. So I got 2 that would hopefully go together. There it is. And it does feel quite nice, silky. And there is a little bit of halo. So that would be maybe the cashmere. And this is a gray. And then the second one I got, no color name on either of them that I can see. Oh yes, okay, I found it. This is called, oh, I can't say it. It's Irish. Craig Nadun. Oh well. This one I can say. Blackberry compote. And I really like the pinks and the pinky purple in this one. I think these will go together. If not, I have other things gray can go with, and I'm sure I have something else, a purple that would go with that. But I think I want to put them together. They're the same feeling, the same yarn base, and they'll be nice. So that's a Wanderer and her wool. She is young, and I think she's just been starting out a couple of years ago. And I'm sorry I don't have more to tell you about the costs, and I don't know what her shipping's like because I bought it from her at the Fleece Festival. But her yarn is quite nice. You might want to check her out. The next one I have, again, another disappointment. It's called The Yarn and the Bees. They are located in Fort Erie. Again, I'll show you the map, number 4. Fort Erie is right up there by Niagara. And for those in the U.S., you pretty much know where Niagara Falls is. And Niagara Falls, Canada and Niagara Falls, USA are just across the bridge from each other at the falls. And Fort Erie is right beside Niagara Falls, more or less. Now, I bought this yarn from her on Etsy. And it says she has an Instagram page, and I'm guessing she still has an Instagram page. But her Etsy shop is closed down. Once again, I guess because I bought a lot of this a while back, and some of them have not been able to stay in business. And I probably bought some of these that are now closed before COVID. So between COVID and the economy now, I guess, it's been hard for some of these smaller business to stay in business. And so you can't blame them. They can't make enough at doing this. They have to find some other work. And then keeping it up on the side is very hard. But I got one from her that is the zebra stripe. I have probably 6 or 7 different zebra stripes. This is 80% merino, 20% nylon, 400 yards. And it feels quite nice. It's one of the softer ones that's a merino nylon blend called Sky Blue, a blue sky. And one day, very soon, I think, I'm going to see, it says she's in Fort Erie and she's on Etsy, but she wasn't on Etsy. And then I got another one in blue, and this one's called Sky Blue as well. So I guess she dyed them. Oh, blue sky and sky blue. Oh, this one is slightly different. Cash sock fingering. It's 80% merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. And yes, it does feel just a touch nicer, softer than the other one. Very, very pretty. And on this one, she included a charm, which looks like part of a beehive. Very nice feeling. And then I also got from her a set of minis. And it was a set that was in my color range. This is very, very pretty. I wouldn't mind getting maybe a light gray or maybe white, but I think a soft gray kid silk or mohair silk to put with it to make something. Each of these has 92 yards, so that's 92 yards, 160 yards in the whole thing. So that'll make decent size something. Maybe one of my kerchief kind of shawlettes or a cowl. But I really love those colors together. Very, very pretty. And one last one, and this one is just about as sad as all the others, and that is some yarn from a company called Zen Yarn Garden. And I went online to find them, and as of February 2025, they retired. So their business is no longer, there might be some of the yarn out there somewhere. They still do have, they say, patterns on Ravelry. I guess they're under the name Zen Yarn Garden. I'm sorry, I did not have time to go and look in Ravelry. And their patterns are 50% off. So you might want to try looking them up. I will, when I do the notes for this video, I will look to see if I can find a link to their patterns. So all I can do is show you the yarn I have from them. And I happened across them when I was in, I told you a while back, on the way to my brother's, there was this lady that had a yarn shop in her home in a little town called McGregor. And I stopped in there, and this is where I got this yarn, and I've never actually shopped on their site before. So here is the first one, and it's a super fine fingering, 90% superwash, 10% nylon, has 400 yards. This is called Burgundy Splatter. So white with these splatters of color, and I'm quite sure I'm going to try and find a solid in one of the colors that might match, red or pink or the purple. Those are the three main colors. I might try to find a solid. Oh, there's some orange in there too that would match this and put it with it. So that's the one. And the other thing I got, and I really like these the best, and these are minis, but they aren't as small as most minis. All three together make 550 yards, and it's a gradient set called Serenity Silk Single, and it's 75% superwash merino, 15 cashmere, and 10 silk. So you know they're gonna feel lovely. And this would definitely make, it's called Blue Hawaii, and this with 550 would make, with the right pattern, would make a shawl. But again, I'm now lately into these cowls, especially the big drapey cowls, and that's what I'm thinking. Now that's a nice mixture of blues and a bright blue and then a deep blue, almost. There is some purple in it. And this does feel very, very nice. So, yes, I'm very happy with that one. And that now covers all of my yarn from Ontario. As I said, I don't know what happened to that mindfulness one. I had it in my hand and it disappeared. Now, next week, we won't be looking at yarn from Canada. I have a bit of a surprise for you, but next week is the beginning of June. So I will be doing my my stash down video for the month of May, and that's why I want to get this pink one done by the end of the week so that next week I can show you that in my stash down. And I think I did a fair amount this month, and I'm very happy about that. And then I'm going to have a bit of surprise after I show you my stash down. I have enough time today. I want to do one other thing, and that is, I showed you the bin that my minis are in, and I thought what I would do is actually open up the bin and spread it out, and that way you would get an idea of just how much yarn is really in that bin. I've already opened it and taken out some yarn for a project I'm working on, but I'm going to take you in the next room and spread all that yarn out on the table. So hang on a minute while we move. You can see here's the great big bin. I can't get it quite far enough away. There it is, so you can see the bin. And I am going to open this bin now. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the two packages. This package, and this is an example of the yarns you get in the pickle jar from Tangled Poets. I'm going to put that aside. And I also have all of these minis, which I put together as a possible fall item. I may not use them all, but I pulled them aside and they're matching. So what you want to see now, I'm going to move you around here a little bit, is this bin of yarn. So I'm going to take it all and dump it on the table. You get an idea with it falling out there, how much yarn there is. There are a couple here that are, this looks like a leftover from something. They're in a cake. But there is all the other yarn. I'll spread it out. There we go. Now you get an idea of how much yarn was in that bucket. Some of these are a little bigger than others. They're thicker, and it makes me think like this over here. They might be from Tangled Poets, because remember I did have an advent from them and they were bigger. But now you can see just how much yarn was in that bucket, and you get a good idea of the variety of the yarn that's in there. So I just thought you might like to see, when I say I have a lot of minis, I'm not kidding you. And that's not counting the packages of minis that I have in the cupboard. I showed you a few of those before. So we'll go back to our usual space. So here we are back in our usual little corner. And I hope you found it interesting to see that tub. And I didn't mention, but I had, when I put them back in the tub, I actually counted them. And not counting the bag of fall ones and not counting the little bag of the pickle jar ones, just the others that are in there, there are over 100. I think 105 or 6 skeins in that tub. And that doesn't count the box of sparkle skeins that I have. And I have a package of skeins from one of my advents from last year, still in the package, haven't decided what to do with them. And for those that have been around, you remember when I used to have the 2 boards up here with the gradients that went teal to gray and then gray into the purple. I still have that. It's back behind there, and I want to find something very special to do that one, because it was dyed to my request for that advent. And very shortly we're going to be into Christmas in July, and I'm going to be opening some advents then, and I'll tell you more about that later in June, what's happening in July. So as I mentioned, next week I'm going to be doing my stash down for the month of May and another surprise to show you. And then the following week, I'm going to be doing dyers from Quebec. and I think I have 7 there or 8. I'm going to have much better with those dyers than I did with the Ontario ones. Unfortunately, I mean, there are a lot of dyers in Ontario, and I happen to have ones from a while back that went out of business, but there are others still there. I'll search some out at a later date. But we will do the second week in June, we will do Quebec. And then the next week in June, we will do the Maritimes. I only have, I think, 5 in total from the Maritime area. And that'll wrap up all of the dyers from Canada that I have at this point. I know I have had others in the past, but I've used the yarn and don't have it anymore. The other thing, and I think I'm going to talk about it now while it's on my mind, rather so it doesn't get involved into our regular monthly Mal slideshow. Once again, I am going to do a slideshow of your items, anything you want. If you remember at the first of the year, I said, send me in a picture of something you consider special, something you would like to show off, something you are proud of. I'm sure most of you have more than one item that you've made that you would like to show others, or maybe you've made another one since. And it doesn't have to be anything really complicated. It's just something that you are really happy with because you're happy with how the colors turned out, or it was something new for you to try. Well, I'm going to do that again, and I'm going to give you all of the month of June. You must send your picture to me by June the 30th. And when you send it, please, in the subject line, put special or special item so that I can keep it straight from the monthly Mal. And I'll do a slideshow and show them all sometime in July as part of my, I think, part of my Christmas in July special podcasts. So that's all I have for you today. A little bit shorter, but still, I don't get to do it too short, do I? I hope you enjoyed all the yarn I had to show you today. And I hope you're looking forward to seeing more yarn, not next week, but the week after. So until then, happy hooking.